Hello and welcome to Your Average Critics, joined today by Ollie, Chris and Obi. We're going to be talking about American Assassin, Mother, It, and some TV.
American Vandal?
American Vandal. Yeah. Has anyone got any movie news though?
Movie news?
Oh, they're apparently making alternate endings to Game of Thrones.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alright, why?
I didn't read one.
Okay, it's because so no one can spoil it.
Ah, that's pretty clever.
So obviously, you know,
I wonder if
they've
release
been
them all, though.
dogged by leaks,
I
haven't
was
they?
saying to Glenn, I hope
Yeah.
if they do the alternate endings thing, that they put them all on like a DVD.
Yeah, that'd be
so you can
sick.
see how it ends.
I think they did that for The Walking Dead. Like, there's a you know when Negan's lining them all up before he starts smashing.
Oh,
heads
they
in?
smashed all of them.
They,
didn't
yeah, they did all of them.
Did
Because
they?
there's clips later on where he's like, "Oh, Rick, I'm gonna kill everyone you know," and like he's seeing like them all getting their heads split up. So they filmed it, but to kind of throw everyone off as well.
I think everyone knew that Glenn was going to die, though.
So sad.
But
So sad, Glenn.
also,
Right.
there was a radio interview with Kit
Harington.
And
I'm proud of you for remembering at least half his name.
yeah. I did remember the other half. I just thought I was going to get it wrong.
What's Kit
so I
short for?
didn't. Kitten. Kit Kat. So basically, the interview went on about talking about how the cast do they hang out with each other outside of the show, and he was saying he said it's better if they don't because they won't get noticed as much if it's just one of them, but if it's two of them, then it's like it's definitely that character. And then the guy went, "Will you ever sit on the throne?" And he just didn't answer. He did answer, and whatever he said, it gave the impression that he will be on the throne.
But I don't think none of them have got any scripts yet. As far as because I listened to an interview with the guy who plays Bran about a week and a half ago, and he said that he could talk as much as he wanted about Series 8 because he hasn't got a clue. He was like, I don't know, we haven't got any. I mean, obviously this was like 2 weeks ago, so they might have them now.
Yeah.
But he was like, I haven't got any scripts. There's no plot outline that I know of. So he was saying I can speculate, but none of it's technically going to be true at the moment.
What if Jon Snow's a White Walker, but because he's had that thing done to him, he's a White Walker human?
Maybe he's the missing link between them. But surely, if they film multiple endings and then all the endings get leaked, it's still technically a spoiler because.
Well, let's hope. I don't get how.
Yeah.
No other TV series has this issue. HBO is seriously.
But I don't know.
It's just not the most pirated show
Yeah.
there is.
But it's
And I think it's just the most
but
popular as
hold
well.
on.
Just full
That's
stop.
not necessarily because it's the most popular though, because not everyone has access to that channel. So for instance, because it's on in America before it's on here, people pirate it so they can see it straight away,
Yeah.
and we don't necessarily have HBO here. I don't know what equivalent channel it's on.
It's on
Sky Atlantic.
Sky Atlantic. Okay, so I suppose a lot of people have it, but not. I think a lot of people these days try to verge off of that and just have the free platforms as well. So I think there's a bit of a mix of both, really. But yeah, you're probably right in the sense that it is the most popular TV series.
I also heard news that you know the girl with the dragon tattoo.
Yeah.
Uh,
Are they remaking it?
it's been recast. So the original author of the trilogy died, and some guy, I can't remember his name, has written 2 more extensions of it, and they're filming the 4th one with an actress called Claire Foy. She's in The Crown, and she's in a lot of period dramas. But I thought it was kind of interesting casting because obviously Elizabeth Salland is like a, tattooed kind of hacker, and it's quite a dark sort of storyline to be involved with. I just don't know if that casting particularly works. It'd be interesting to see because obviously you can get typecast with a particular genre of film, but
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
good to mix it up, though, isn't it?
it is. But I don't know if I can really see it.
Nicolas Cage is the shittest actor.
Oi,
Shittest person out there.
But Obi and I went to a live recording of another film podcast yesterday. What did you think of it?
I thought it was alright. It's decent. It's funny.
As good as the first one you went to?
Oh no, I think I preferred the other one.
Yeah.
But no, this one was still pretty good. I quite like the host, the Irish. Is he Irish?
Yeah.
The Irish guy. he was
What were
pretty
they
funny.
talking about? Was it films? Was it
Yeah,
a film?
it's films? Yeah.
Yeah. So they did I guess what we kind of do, movie news. They had an interview with a celebrity guest like we do, and then they just kind of
I like the guest as well.
it was Matthew Vaughn and Mark Strong from
Oh, really?
Kingsman. Yeah.
Ah.
And then they just kind of review the films.
We'll be doing that next week, won't we? Kingsman?
What?
Or the week
Oh
after?
yeah. I thought you said interview him up
Yeah,
strong.
you
I was
lot
like,
were saying, you lot were saying there's no good films coming out, but there's a couple.
No, I'm saying
coming out.
I'm saying
Oh,
like,
there's nothing
I,
good
yeah,
at
I
the
said
moment.
like right now, like, I would say like the past from now going back maybe like the month, maybe 2 months. There hasn't been any like films out that I'm like
Yeah, like
I really
August
wanna
Bank
see
Holiday
this.
Weekend's supposed to be a big one, but there were like the 3 films that we went and saw. They weren't all that
Yeah.
good. So like Logan Lucky.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to November actually, because November's the start of all the superhero ones again.
Mm,
No,
that's
mate,
true.
Star Wars in it, December.
True.
Yeah.
But I think Thor Ragnarok's gonna be. It looks quite funny. So
But Obi and I were talking about this last week on the podcast about, was the summer actually just quite crap for films? Because
is it ever good for films?
I remember
Normally you get,
it
like,
used
summer
to be.
blockbuster, innit?
Yeah, you'd used to get like throughout.
Wait, wasn't there a film that
The
did
film
really
was
sick
good.
in when it came out last month? Fuck. Oh. I can't remember. Karen, no, it's
But so like we've had some big films this year, right? We've had Fast 7, 8, Fast
No,
8.
sorry, 7. Yeah.
It is 8
Eight?
actually.
Oh.
Fast 8, Guardians 2, Spider-Man Homecoming, amongst others. And normally they would all come out in summer. Like when we were kind of, early teens, you would have to wait until the beginning of the school holidays to see all these big films. But now they're coming out April, May. Deadpool came out in 2016 in February. Logan as well.
Yeah.
That was this year. So it's kind of, they're spreading them out, which I guess is good, but it came to the summer and I wasn't interested in like Despicable Me or Captain Underpants or,
What? You don't like Despicable Me?
Oh, it wasn't like, oh yeah, I can't wait to see it, or Cars 3,
Okay.
it just kind of felt like a kind of children's dominated, which obviously is because it's summer holidays, but you know what, why they didn't have a Justice League or a Thor or...
Well, I mean, now it's all trailers for the horror movies because obviously coming up to Halloween. So the best type of part of year for you, Lobes.
Okay, well, talking of horror films,
Yep.
how was it? Tell us the plot, tell us what you thought of it.
So it's a little.
Chris looks hilariously underwhelmed.
I get scared quite easily by films. This just There was one bit that scared me,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I think you could see it coming as well when
I did. I can see it coming.
because
I had no idea.
Oh shit!
I was like grabbing onto Chris.
I'll say this: the cast was a good cast. I think they had quite good chemistry with each other. Had the guy from Stranger Things, he's quite witty in that as well, but he's very witty in this one. They
Yeah.
were doing the mother jokes to each other.
Well,
And
like
there
your
was-
mama.
Yeah, like he was like, oh,
Yeah, it was kids, but I couldn't tell how old they were supposed to be.
Yeah,
'Cause
this
they were young, but they were trying to like be older.
Older,
I don't know
yeah.
How much older though?
I didn't really understand the age of what they were either, but
Yeah, that was funny though.
yeah, it's a story basically of this town where there's a lot of murder that happens every 27 years, but you don't find that on till later on, and you find out there's these 3 kids that bully all the kids, and blah 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 blah. Story goes on, and then mysterious things start happening, like they all have hallucinations, and you don't really understand why, or what the hallucinations mean until they describe them later on. For example,
And it's the thing they fear most.
yeah, it's the thing they fear most. So one of the kids was seeing a leper because he didn't like disease and shit.
Okay.
And so like I thought it was a zombie that was attacking
Yeah, I
him.
had no idea.
I had no
I don't
idea.
think I would know what a leper was if I
Well,
was like
he
11.
knew, but like we didn't. And then the other kid, his parents burnt in the fire, so he was seeing like fingers coming through the doors, like and smoke.
Okay.
And the clown was fairly scary. In
As
his
soon as
face.
he opened, so he shows himself very early on, like within the first few minutes, and I don't know. As soon as he opens his mouth, it's like, oh, that's really not scary.
Yeah.
Oh, does he have like a funny voice?
He opens his mouth and it's like several little teeth, like from Alien, that monster with like loads of teeth in it. It's like almost like and his mouth just opens like really wide as well, and he goes and eats you. But yeah, it was weird, wasn't it?
That was a weird one.
I genuinely thought so. He seems pretty invincible to me. They would hit him with like baseball. He's not real, but he is real. I didn't get it. Like I wanted him to be a real man because I think that would have been scarier if he was a real man. But because he was not real,
Okay.
and like
So is he a ghost? A demon?
I don't know because
Okay.
he's in the history books. He's in all their history, but no one could see him in the pictures, which really annoyed me. Like there's like a drawing, like a caricature, like kind of caricature. No, like a sketch drawing of like these 61
I think that
people.
was all fake though, wasn't it? That wasn't real because there's like a part where some kids watching telly, and it's like the people on the telly are talking to the kid. Obviously,
yeah.
that wasn't happening, but it's like in his mind it's happening, and then the clown's on the telly, and obviously the clown's not actually on the telly.
They have a rock war at one point, like throwing rocks at each other. Like, that is brutal, mate. But the story goes on, and basically there's this one kid who really wants to defeat the clown, which we call It, because it's stolen his brother, and that's the iconic drain scene where
right.
and he's just got this determination where you think, right, I'd be shitting it as a kid, like, and he was just like, no, we've got to do this, and like,
It's so fucking stupid.
I know.
It was really, really good. I think up until the last half an hour was really quite long and a bit dull. And they were like, "Oh, we should not go off by ourselves." And then what's he do? He fucking turns around and runs off because he thinks he sees something. And you're like, "Oh my god!" You literally told like 8 other kids just to do not that. Yeah,
there was bare kids coming together to fight this thing.
Okay.
And literally gets to the point. The clown has captured the only girl in the story. Was she the only girl?
Mm-hmm.
Only the main girl in the story, and she's like hanging up like lifeless from nothing. She's literally hanging from nothing, and they pull her down, and then this kid kisses her, and then she comes back to life. But they make it jokey, almost like like that's not the reason why it happened. And then they all start battering this clown with baseball bats, wooden things, chains, and he's going back and he's getting hit and it's hurting him, and he's then healing almost, and he like falls down this well and he's hanging on, and then something happens and he falls, and that's it.
He's dead. End of chapter 1.
All the kids that he's captured have started falling, like floating down, but they're all dead, so it's irrelevant. And then they come together at the end, and and they talk about it. They cut their hands, say they're blood brothers and sisters and whatever, and that's the end of the story.
Oh, okay.
I like the idea that. So, have you ever seen Super 8?
Yeah.
Like it's like kind of set in the 80s, maybe before, and it's like that kind of group of
Stand
kids.
By Me.
Is that another one?
That's the one we were trying to think of after the movie. The 4 kids and the train track.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
So I like the idea of like a little town. So there's a bit of a mystery, and the kids have to solve it, and then they do. That's what I really enjoyed.
Yeah, that was good about it. I do like it, and the comedy I thought was really funny, and it brought back mum jokes that I haven't heard in a while.
What was the best mum joke?
God knows, there were so many. Like honestly, like every chance they got, they would do a mum joke.
So how was the balance of the comedy and the horror? Because I thought it was just going to be a straight up.
I don't think it was a horror film. I think it was more of a thriller.
It was a 15 first of all, and I thought it was going to be an 18.
Yeah,
because
I thought there'd be more gore.
But it's like it's jumpy at points, but you know so obviously the idea is that it's feeding off their fear, and if you see something over and over and over and over, even if it's your fear, you're probably going to get used to it, right? So by the end we were like it was jumpy, but then at the end it was like, oh, they're just putting it all into one, like constantly showing all these not scary things.
So would it have been more effective if you didn't see the clown till much later? Because
it's not that, because the clown wasn't the only scary thing.
Okay.
So the clown feeding the fear.
Like a manifestation.
So like some kid didn't like a painting, so it came to life and started attacking him, but it had that shitty mouth.
Right.
It was just, and I thought they were going to do a major cop out at one point. So basically, say there's 8. I can't remember how many there are. Let's say there's 8. 7 of the kids had seen something as well as seeing the clown. So you'd see your thing and then you'd see the clown and you'd be like, oh, run away or you get captured, whatever. One of them hadn't seen the clown yet, and I thought they were going to say he's scared of nothing because he was pretty fearless. And then all of a sudden he goes, yeah, I'm scared of clowns. And then I was like, oh, okay, right.
Oh, okay.
So they didn't cop out, but people were raving about it, saying it was like really scary, and there was like things about there's going to be a scene in there which the kids didn't know about, and they all started crying about it. There was no scene in there where I thought, right, they all got scared at one point, unless it was the bit where the clown got the head thing through his head. But I don't know how they would see that in real life.
And then they all just stood there and they were like,
yeah. It's just like this kid. There's one kid.
I feel like we're being more pessimistic about this.
There's this one kid who gets slashed up about 4 times in the film. One by an actual kid, and then 2 or 3 times by the clown. Does his parents say anything? No. Like, there's only one parent in there which actually is like, right, you're not going anywhere near my kids anymore, to the other kids, because he's getting hurt because of you guys. Then 2 other parents are bloody psychotic, want to kill their own kids.
Oh, okay.
And then they end up killing them instead.
Oh.
Yeah.
So you're not going to go and see part 2?
I don't know, because it was based on a television series, wasn't it?
Well, it's based
Based on a book.
Yeah, so there's the book
Yeah.
by Stephen King,
And then
there's it was a TV miniseries / sort of, yeah, it's like feature length.
Yeah.
But it's in 2 parts because the book flashes between the 50s and 80s when they're children and adults, and it keeps jumping back and forth. And I think the miniseries does as well, which I haven't
So
seen.
there's going to be one where they're 80s. Because there's a
adults.
post-credit scene apparently, and we didn't stay to watch it.
Okay. But yeah, there is going to be a second one.
Yeah.
Well,
27 years later.
yeah, it will be. So it'll be
Yeah.
2017, won't it? Assuming that it's... No, that's really bad maths. 2007. Well,
Yeah,
depending on
well,
when
yeah,
in
yeah.
the 80s
It's
set.
well, unless they do it in 54 years. It's like every 27 years this thing happens. And I'm not convinced they killed the clown, so...
Well, things like that. The horror characters always
his,
come
his
back.
face wasn't... Yeah, I think we need to see the clown a little less as well, because his face was scary. But the more you saw it, the more you were like... just numb to it a little bit. It's like, oh...
Did you prefer horror films then when you either don't see the threat,
Yeah.
or, you know, things like Insidious?
Paranormal.
Yeah, I
Or-
prefer that.
I think so. I think you were mentioning as well that this is an actual. There's a word for it, where something's creepier because it hasn't got eyes, so you can't make that connection with it.
Okay.
I'm sure there was a word, and I think I brought this up when we went and saw Life.
Yeah.
You know, at the end when it's got a face, and you're like, I think that would be less scary.
Yeah.
As opposed to just some like single-celled organism just like sucking on your face.
I suppose it depends how you feel, because if you can make a human connection with it, then some people might think, oh my god, you can see the human in it, and it's like, that's
True.
scary. And then some people might be like, oh, I don't want to see a human connection, because then they'll be like, oh, it's nothing.
But I think, for me anyway, when things like Insidious, Annabelle, all those sorts of things, it's scary because your mind is obviously... it doesn't know what it is, but it generates its own kind of, you know, what the threat looks like. And then I think I mentioned this when I was talking about Annabelle Creation, but when you actually see the demon, it just looks like really dumb.
Yeah.
You know, obviously in Insidious 1, the thing looks like Darth Maul. The thing in Annabelle Creation just looked like a kind of... Do you know the guy who plays the Nightcrawler in the X-Men Days of Future Past, when he's like blue and looks a bit like kind of looked like that, and I was like, okay, this isn't scary. It's scary when it's just doors slamming and things. But talking of Insidious, there's people seen the trailer for Insidious 4.
Yeah, we saw that, yeah.
It looked really good, didn't it?
Yeah, it looked decent, actually. I like the Insidious films. Insidious 4?
It is, yeah, Insidious
I thought
4.
it was the last key.
I thought it was number 3.
No, I've got the trilogy at home.
Oh.
But but it's set...
So what happens in the third one?
There's like a girl and she breaks her leg.
Oh, yeah, that's rubbish, that one.
But this one's set... I don't know what the chronology is because it's not
the
set
older,
after
it's
them.
the old lady. So it's her doing...
But apparently it's set before all of the Insidious films.
Yeah,
I
that
can't
makes
remember
sense.
what
That makes sense. It's before the man and lady get involved in it.
Yeah,
But the man is essentially the demon anyway, isn't he? In 2 of them, so...
that's true.
I like it when it connects, so I'll give you that. I'd say it's a 6 out of 10. I'll give it, and that's because of the chemistry of the kids. It was
Okay.
I'd give it a little bit higher just for that, and I'd probably
Yeah.
not finish watching the film. I'd watch the first hour
Yeah.
and a half. Or whatever.
I'm with you on that. Tell you what, I nearly got scared because I don't mind them, but I think it'd be scary because there was a kid with a clown fear. He got stuck in a room with a load of clown dolls. I thought that was pretty freaky because I don't like dolls. So if I was in a room like that, I'd be like, oh.
What is the scariest film you've seen then?
Scariest film I've seen? Oh God.
Jaws in it.
It's got.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I can't remember. It's a film where oh sugar. I don't remember it.
Have you seen a film called Dead Silence? Because that's about dolls and stuff.
I'm not gonna watch it then, mate. I'm not gonna lie to you.
What about you? Scariest film you've seen?
It's got to be Jaws. I
it is
wasn't joking about that.
Oh right. Have
Don't
you seen
know,
it recently?
Have I? I sort of seen.
Oh yeah, I keep forgetting you
Where-
don't like sharks.
Yeah.
Have you seen all 5?
No, is there 5?
Yeah, I think so.
I think I've only seen the second one, as in the first and the
Yeah,
second.
I think there's
The
5.
Deep Blue Sea.
I think there's
That
one.
messed me up as a kid.
Is it?
I felt there's 6.
Oh shh. I know there's loads of Sharknadoes as well.
Oh yeah. Would you watch those?
Sharknado.
It's like-
Jokes.
And I know you don't like horror films, but is there one particular film that stands out and you're like, yeah, that...
Was there a horror film that horrored you out so much that you never want to see horror films ever again?
I saw The Exorcist when I was 11, and that just fucked me up for life. So That one.
Yeah, that's probably a bad film to watch when you're
That's
that
the film
young.
that I'm never gonna watch horror film again, and I'm pretty sure I can count on my hand. I can count on one hand the amount of horror films I've watched since then.
The Grudge or The Ring once together.
Maybe. Can't remember.
Or I think
He blocks it out.
Probably-
Right?
Ketchy was watching that. We were like,
exactly.
nah,
Yeah,
we
exactly.
walked there.
You probably watched it, and I was just like,
Turn around,
oh, I'm gonna go
the
sleep,
other
guys.
way.
Oh, I'm really tired, guys. Oh, good night. But yeah, no, horror films are my thing.
Fair enough. I went to see Mother! Exclamation mark, which is kind of a psychological horror film, but I mean, it's really divided critics. Like, it got booed initially when it first premiered at, I think it was Venice Film Festival, and then like some people were saying it's like a masterpiece, but it is one of the most batshit crazy films I've ever seen.
Really?
So the plot, I will go into spoiler detail because I don't think any of you
Yeah,
can
go for
see
it. Go for it.
By all means.
But to kind of give you a synopsis without going into detail, it's about a married couple who are played by Jennifer Lawrence and Javier Bardem, and they live in this kind of huge octagonal house in the middle of kind of nowhere, and Javier Bardem's a poet. I think he's a poet.
And
Or
he
some
doesn't know
some
it.
form of writer, and he's got writer's block. And then Jennifer Lawrence spends all her time kind of making, kind of refurbishing the house because Javier Bardem's, this is his family home, and it burned down, and so she kind of rebuilds it, and that's her kind of pastime. And then all of a sudden one day they get a knock at the door, and there's this kind of middle-aged man turns up, and he's like, "Oh, I thought this was a B&B." And Javier Bardem's like, "It's not, but you can stay because, you know, there isn't that much around here." And
It's
then
a doctor, isn't it?
yes, he's a doctor. Or he says he's a doctor, and you know, he's kind of, him and Javier Bardem struck up a bromance, and kind of Jennifer Lawrence kind of gets pushed to the outside of their like relationship. Like, Javier Bardem doesn't consult her about anything. You know, he's like, "Yeah, you can stay. Yeah, you know, have a drink, come into my room, stay for as long as you want." And Jennifer Lawrence is like, "The hell, you want to talk to me about this or what?" And the reason I'm talking about the actors' names is because they don't actually have names in the film. And then the middle-aged man invites his wife. So his wife turns up, and Jennifer Lawrence is like, "Why are these people coming to our house?" And then things just get kind of escalated. So like, they're kind of really an odd. So the middle-aged couple, played by Ed Harris and Michelle Pfeiffer, are really odd. Like, it's just something not right about them. They get off like really inappropriately, and they're quite open with their sexuality, you know, in public, and they kind of shun Jennifer Lawrence, which is, you know, for no apparent reason. They just kind of take a dislike to her, and Jennifer Lawrence is always like serving them, giving them drinks, and she kind of acts in like a really subservient role. And then the couple's sons turn up, and then Jennifer Lawrence is like, "Why are these people in my house?" And then the sons get into an argument, and then one of the sons kills the other son, and then Javier Bardem like rushes them to the hospital, and Jennifer Lawrence is there just left to clean up this like corpse, and then the son who killed his brother comes back, and that's basically like the first half of the film, and then they have a wake in their house, right? So even more people start turning up, and Jennifer Lawrence is like, "Why are you here?" Like, and no one's respecting the rules of her house. People start painting her house. People start breaking her sinks, and she's like, "This is my house, get out!" And people just laugh at her. For that part, I really enjoyed, because it was kind of like a home invasion film. You know, if you've seen The Strangers or things like that, where it's not your traditional home invasion because they were technically invited in, but there was a lot of tension there. Like, it was really odd. There were just odd kind of things that happen. So like, Michelle Pfeiffer throws what looks like a heart down the toilet, and there's all these weird kind of like pulsing walls. And it's a bit kind of psychological horror. And then it just goes absolutely mental. So Jennifer Lawrence gets pregnant, and then Javier Bardem gets inspired to write again because he's now got a child on the way. And then it kind of skips forward to when Jennifer Lawrence is heavily pregnant and about to give birth. She sets up a dinner for her and her husband, and then there's another knock at the door, and it's his publisher, and his publisher's like, oh yeah, you know, so happy for you. And then all his fans start turning up, and he's like holding like a press conference in her house, and then there are just thousands and thousands of people start turning up, and they literally destroy her house. So then she's like saying, why are you here? Please go away. And Javier Bardem's like, no, they can stay. And so she locks herself in his study, and then eventually gives birth. And then the house turns into like a war zone. So it's like something out of Call of Duty. Like the fucking army turn up and start shooting people, and then there's explosions. And I was like,
I didn't get any of this from the trailer. When I saw the trailer, I thought it was literally just like
literally, I was like,
house.
have I just missed something? Like, how was this gone from 0 to 100? And then she gives birth, and then Javier Bardem wants to show off their child to his fans, and his fans start like crowd surfing his baby, and then the baby's neck breaks and dies, and then they start eating it.
What? Oh my god.
And then
that took a dark turn.
Yeah, and then she goes mental and she starts killing people, and then his fans beat her up, and then she's pretty much dead, and then she starts a fire, and then the whole house explodes, and Javier Bardem's the only one who survives, and then it kind of ends. Oh no, it ends cyclically. So the way it started is how it begins, but just with another woman other than Jennifer Lawrence. So the first half, I was like, yeah, this is good, you know, kind of horror-ish. And then the second half, just complete 180. I was like, what? What have I just watched? It was like a really slow build-up, and then just everything happened. And this
So wait, was he with a woman after Jennifer Lawrence?
Well, so the entire film is allegorical, right? It's all about metaphors and imagery. So my reading of the film is that Javier Bardem is God and Jennifer Lawrence is Mother Nature. So she's building her world and their world, and he's struggling to create. And then he gets the middle-aged couple, who I assume are Adam and Eve, and then their sons would be Cain and Abel, which is a biblical story where one brother kills another. I don't know too much about the Bible, but and then obviously when he starts, you know, he obviously gets his people in, like his, you know, humanity, and then they start destroying Mother Nature. So I guess it's kind of like an ecological sort of metaphor there. You know, they're destroying her house while she's trying to create it. And
so what's the baby?
Jesus.
That's what I was going to say. I was going to ask you that.
So Mother Nature gave birth to Jesus.
Well, I mean, obviously, yeah, I don't really. That was the part that I can't get right in my head. But
and then the people did kill Jesus, I suppose.
So
but then when
they're passing it across, I kind of imagine like Jesus' crucifixion when he's walking through the people. Why do they eat him though? Well, because when you have communion, you have the body and blood of Christ. So that's just a literal interpretation of it.
What about the war zone then? I guess
it's just destruction of.
And then Mother Nature destroys itself.
Yeah, and then God recreates it. You know, starts again.
Right, okay.
So that's the thing. Like, there are a lot of parts of the film that I can use to support my kind of theory, but then there are other parts that just the weird kind of psychological horror elements that don't quite fit into it. And I'm like, are you trying to go for a biblical kind of story? Are you trying to go for horror? For me, they would have worked as two separate films or parts of the story, but the fact that they kind of were in one film and just like literally out of nowhere just ramped up the ante. I don't know. I still don't know if I
thought it was going to be a party, having all the people in the house. Sounds like an absolute riot, mate.
It's a proper mental film. And I'm not really sure I would recommend it. I would only watch it again to try and watch it with my, you know, kind of theory in mind. And other people have said it's a manifestation of anxiety, but I don't know enough about anxiety to know whether that's true. But
deep.
So what would you rate it?
I'd rate the first half like a 7.5, and the second half like a 3 or 4. So go for a 5.5, 6.
Ooh.
But I don't really know if I
not
can
bad.
recommend it. It's one of those really like batshit films.
Batshit films.
Yeah. So that's I I don't know.
No segue off that one, mate.
No, it's just a moment of reflection.
Well, I did watch Batman and Harley Quinn.
Oh,
Is it good?
It's alright. It's not great. I've
Oh,
seen much
what-
better ones.
What is it?
So Harley Quinn's turned her life around. She's trying to better
Is this
herself.
live action?
No,
Cartoon.
it's cartoon.
Okay.
So she's trying to almost like turn her life around because I think the Joker's dead at this point. So she's like just coming back to normality. And then Poison Ivy and the Swamp Thing are trying to develop some serum to turn everyone into these swamp creature things so that the Earth is theirs essentially. And then Nightwing spots Harley Quinn. Like she's just working in this bar where like superheroes and superheroines work to like earn money, but if anyone touches them then they'll beat them up kind of thing. And then basically Harley Quinn outdoes Nightwing and then traps him in her house on his bed, and then some sex scene happens there, which is a bit
Always.
questionable because he was like no, and then when
really?
it starts happening he's like yeah. So and then him, Nightwing, and Harley Quinn just go around searching for clues, like because Harley Quinn's got an in with Poison Ivy because they're like best mates, and then that's pretty much it really. They stop whatever happens. There's a few little comical bits in between, but as animated films go, it's not the best one.
So what was it called? What is this?
Batman and Harley Quinn,
Was that
I
it?
think.
Do all of these
I'd say.
DC animations link together? Are they all part
There's
of, like-
some kind of cyclical story. So for example, there's a point in some of the DC films where Joker dies, and in a lot of the things I've watched, Harley Quinn then turns good.
Okay.
DC's what's that? Injustice 2. That storyline is Harley Quinn's good and she's working with Batman.
Okay, so it's not like anything to do with the Killing Joke or.
I mean, it might
Year
come,
one
might
or
come after
whatever.
that because the Killing Joke, the Joker dies,
Okay,
doesn't he?
Mm.
Yeah.
but so you don't have like
None of
Barbara
them.
Gordon as like.
So none of the films I've watched besides The Dark Knight, Part 1, Part 2, and I don't think Part 3's come out yet, has it?
I think so.
They're the only ones that have been proper cyclical with
Okay.
one another. Otherwise, they're all scattered everywhere.
Oh, right.
Because you can have different Earths as well,
Okay.
all sorts. So, but yeah, probably it's number 6. It wasn't great. It's quite a quick film as well. So
Yeah, they don't tend to be that long, the animated
No.
features, do they?
I prefer it that way, to be honest.
Yeah.
They did the release date of Suicide Squad 2, didn't they? The other day.
Did they?
Yeah.
Oh no.
Don't know what it is.
Can't wait.
Oh no. Okay, how many times are you going to see that?
And
Maybe
did,
2.
did you see about the Joker and the Batman films that that guy has made? Oh, what's his name?
What, Jared Leto?
No, they're making a Joker and a Batman film, but they're not going to have Jared Leto and
Ben Affleck.
yeah,
Oh, was that still going to be DC?
yeah.
And it's going to be part of the DCEU, or?
Uh,
God, you didn't mention this during movie news.
I know. It says Joker origin film is similar to his Batman pitch. Darren.
Darren Aronofsky.
Yeah.
That guy did Mother.
Yeah.
God, it's going to be a weird film then.
Martin Scorsese.
Scorsese doing a Joker film.
Yeah, the Joker origin story on deck. Todd Phillips, Scott Silver, Martin Scorsese aboard WB/DC film.
Okay. Because didn't they
Because they
announce like 3 Joker featured films?
yeah, so probably this is one of them, and then maybe whoever we
Well,
just
there'd be
said.
Suicide Squad 2, and then I think
That-
because there was going to be a Gotham City Sirens film, but I think they're changing that to Joker and Harley Quinn or something.
Oh, let's do City Sirens. Right,
But
but
what do you think about a Joker origin story? Because we talked about this last week, me and OB. What, you know?
I think it would be interesting. I mean, I don't know how much in depth you can go on about a Joker. I mean,
But do you want there to be a Joker origin?
I
Because
don't think
isn't the whole point?
there's no need. There's there honestly is no need. If you're rebooting the franchise, then maybe you add one in, and maybe you have the story of how he turns Harley Quinn as well, because that'd be quite interesting. Because she was his therapist, and then he
Psychologist,
and then
They did that in Suicide Squad 2.
They did.
Squad, didn't they?
Is the Joker in or Harley Quinn? Are they in Arkham?
Asylum.
yeah,
I think so.
yeah, she's the Arkham. What did we say again? What was that?
Psychologist.
Therapist.
Therapist.
And then she's the one working on Joker, and then she falls in love with the Joker,
Oh, so it's. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
and then she helps him escape.
Yeah.
Do you know what's really stupid? Doing the Suicide Squad film before you done Justice League film.
Yeah.
I feel like you should have established all the characters in that world
But
first.
then maybe they can say that there wasn't a collective team strong enough to defeat that enemy at that point in time. So then maybe that's why they needed Suicide Squad.
But just don't do the film.
Yeah, I know.
Just
Yeah,
don't do
yeah.
the film.
Well, I think the film's rubbish. So the casting was decent at best. I think Will Smith did well.
I had a lot of
Margot
it was
Robbie
like an
did well.
ensemble cast. Had a lot of potential.
Yeah, true.
It just really didn't work.
Yeah, no, it didn't. The villain was the main problem, and then you have the counter argument that if there's a villain that big, why would you set the Suicide Squad on it?
I think it's hard to. The reason why I say they shouldn't have done this before Justice League film, because when you're watching Avengers or when you're watching Captain America 3, because you're already familiar with the characters who were in it, when they all team up, you're like, oh shit, yeah, this is sick. But then when you get 4 or 5 individual characters that you've never seen on screen before, when they're all teaming up and fighting whatever, you're like, oh, okay, this is alright, but I'm not attached to these characters in any way.
So do you feel that they should have, like, throughout the DCEU, kind of dropped in these villains, and then you'd want them to join up?
They could have done a little mashup before one of the films, like in the Superman film or something, or they should have made a Batman film before they'd done it and had Batman like a prelude sort of like him becoming Batman and then like beating up Joker or taking Harley Quinn to the prison or something like that. Because they did try and do snippets, didn't they, before? Like they did a big chunk of Will Smith's one, like about how he's for his daughter.
Because if they did that, I think that if they did singular films, it might not have worked so well. And then by the end of having like a Will Smith film, Harley Quinn film, no one wants to see them all in one.
Is that what you meant, like, for the villains to have their individual films, or to just appear like?
Yeah, so like you could do a film, a Will Smith film where I don't know, where he's facing off against Deadshot or something like that. Do you know what I mean? Or maybe Deadshot's the secondary villain, and then the Joker and Harley Quinn are his primary villains, or something like that. Just so we have an idea of what these characters are like, and we can get attached or detached to them. Before they all appear together on a big screen, because you're putting a bunch of strangers together, so it doesn't really feel like it's.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And that could be a sorry, Chris. That could be a problem with the Justice League film as well, because we haven't seen a Flash, or we haven't seen Cyborg. We've only just seen. We've seen Wonder Woman, we've seen Batman, we've seen Superman. That's fine, but we haven't seen.
I think
Aquaman
the big problem with the Justice League film is that it's going to be too alien to start with. Like,
it's going to be shady.
I know Avengers, all the villains are alien technically, but they have a human element to them. So like Loki looks human, even though he's a demigod, which is technically alien to us. And then they bring in the alien army as well, kind of fit. But like this one, I've got a feeling it's just going to be alien right from the off. Like, well, I suppose it's going to be. But
Ultron's not an alien, is he?
He's a robot made by humans, though. But that wasn't very good, that film. That wasn't the best film. So, what I was going to say is, in the Suicide Squad film, I think you need to have that element of why are they needed as well. So I think they should have done like some TV clip or something of like the Justice League defeating some other enemy somewhere else. Because I see no reason why Batman didn't come in at that point and be like, let's kick some butt, or why Flash didn't do some like whirlwind round it. Although in the Justice League film it'll be shown that Flash is a bit of a pansy and doesn't want to do anything. Why Aquaman didn't come from the sea, why Wonder Woman wasn't there to kick some butt. Like, if anything, Wonder Woman should have definitely been there, because that was a goddess, and Wonder Woman's fighting these peeps, isn't it? So
yeah, it was odd, wasn't it? Like, I don't still quite understand the point of it. Like, why you get this crack team. Because also, like, the reason Enchantress became evil was whilst Rick Flag was searching for something, and then she just became evil, and I was like, I don't understand, like, the whole kind of structure of the film. And I think your idea would be really good. Like, if we'd had these films, and maybe Deadshot had popped up in Dawn of Justice, and you see him get sent to prison, you see Harley Quinn get sent to prison, and then they all meet in prison and are like, we need to we want to take down the Batman or something.
Well, Suicide Squad's not about them being as a collective though, like that. But I see what you're saying.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it was odd.
You always have that problem though, the thing you were saying about other teams, like, not just joining in. So like, when you go back to the TV shows, when like Arrow and Flash and Legends of Tomorrow are all doing stuff, like when Arrow is facing off against who was it? What's his name? Adrian Chase, or whatever his name is.
Yeah.
you could either just be like, yeah, Barry, can you come through quickly and speedily knock this guy out so I can kill him or whatever, like, or
True.
They can easily just call up their mates and be like, can you help me? But because of what the film is, you can't just be like, the Suicide Squad can't just be like, oh, should we just call Justice League?
Yeah,
Because the film will be over in about 5 minutes.
Yeah. I do get that.
So how do they, for these crossover episodes with the CW, how do they work it in?
So it's like Arrow will turn up and be like, I need your help,
Yeah,
Barry. Or
literally,
Barry will turn up and be like, I need your help.
Yeah.
And when they did the collective of all of them, it was like, right, we need more help, so we'll call them in.
And then we've got Supergirl.
Yeah. He's like, oh, I know someone from a different world. I'll go quickly jump to a different Earth and get her and then come back.
Okay.
And then there was like an episode there and then an episode here and then an
I thought
episode.
the crossover was sick though. I really enjoyed it.
The only episode that was pointless was the Supergirl one. They need to really up the game with the Supergirl part of the episode.
I think
it's because she's a different Earth though, isn't it? That's the problem.
I think these ones, because they kind of did that with last year with the Legends of Tomorrow one, wasn't really like a crossover. So I think this year I reckon all 4 of them will probably be crossover.
Well, maybe
shows.
5
Well, yeah, the Black
Black
Lightning one
Lightning.
doesn't start till
next year.
till 2018, but maybe they'll just get him in there as like a little cameo or
Maybe.
something.
So what are you watching then whilst there's a hiatus from the CW shows?
I mean,
Anything and everything.
I finished Last Chance U.
Okay.
Decent.
Season 2.
You're gonna have to remind me a few
Season 1,
bits of this because I haven't watched in a while, but it's
Yeah.
not as good as season 1. I didn't think.
It's not, but I still really enjoyed
Yeah.
it. I still
So
enjoyed it.
season 1, if I'm right in remembering, ended with the college football team being
It's
banned for a bit.
yeah. They got like 3 game ban, 5
2
game,
games.
2 game ban. Majority of the team and majority of the staff.
Okay, so how does season 2 start and kind of continue?
So the season 2 starts basically with them facing the consequences of last season. So have to play their first. They've got like a pretty brand new team basically, and there's a few people left over from last year, and everyone who was involved last year can't play in the first game of the season. So even like their starting quarterback, he didn't play. He was in the
Starting one. Do you mean?
yeah, the starting quarterback.
Oh.
He was in the starting quarterback, not for last season. The starting quarterback for season 2.
Oh yeah.
He was at the ground in that when the fight happened, but he wasn't playing. He was up in the commentary bit, and they still like you can't play because you were there.
Oh, okay.
So like they play. So like I think normally in a Chris.
Yeah.
Normally in a American football game, you have like 55 players. They only have 32.
55?
Yeah. So I think
Jesus
I think it's like 25 offense, 30 defense, or something along those
Wow.
lines. So they had to play basically with loads of freshmen and a few transfers in, and then they had 32 players. So basically everyone had to play much longer than you normally would, and they lost the first game, but it was only by like a couple points. But that was basically like just introducing like some of the new players and seeing how they deal with all that stuff, and it was quite it was interesting because the players who couldn't play, they all had to stay. They weren't allowed at the ground, even they had to stay on the campus, and they were all watching it through like a stream or something. And like they were all getting like proper up for it when they were scoring and or when they were conceding, they were all like well down. It's good to see like the camaraderie was still there, even though like none of them were actually there to play, but they're still like, oh yeah, we want to play for this team, sort of thing. But yeah, that was good. So Chris, I don't know if you want to have any input on that bit or not.
No, good.
No. So then basically they just go through the whole rest of the season, and they're winning. I think they win because of that. Basically, that first loss cost them the game for the state championship. They win they win the state championship, but they can't play in the national championship because of,
I think that's such a
I
stupid
know,
way
it's
of doing
dumb,
it.
It's dumb because the way they do it is like for the rankings. It's to do with obviously your record, like 10-1 or 10-0, whatever, and then people vote on it as well. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really get how.
Oh, okay.
So they basically just didn't get voted in for it.
Yeah, and basically they think that the reason it didn't get voted is because people don't like their college EMCC because.
Does the top one always get through though? If you come top.
I imagine if you're top, you always get.
So then the only way they can do it is by coming
But
top
the thing
because
is
they lost their first
yeah.
one. They didn't come top.
Well, so there was a team that won all their games.
Two
Yeah.
teams won all their games, and they were the
How
third
does
team.
that work?
I know.
If they didn't play each
There's
other?
different divisions.
Oh,
Yeah, so it's
right.
different. Like they do, I think, goes by state.
Oh,
But then
okay.
they're all in like one big national whatever. But then one of the guys was saying you have to you can't just take into account win record. You have to take into account the strength of the teams that everyone else was playing. But they were saying that no one really did that. So then they lost out. They didn't get to play.
They should do it more like
State
another
championship.
tournament afterwards, like
Yeah.
all nation national. Yeah, but
So like, sorry Chris, do you have anything?
no, I was gonna say they should
Go
do a
on.
tournament with all the states, but then there's like loads of them in there. So
I think they should do that as well. They'll definitely make it a lot fairer.
Yeah.
I think. But So yeah, it was like season 1. I feel like there was quite a few like standout players that I think made me feel like quite attached to the team. Like maybe actually think they want to win. So like Ronald Ollie, the DJ Law, like the running back. And
Is this season 1 or season 2?
Season 1.
I was going to say, yeah.
And the what's his face? The quarterback, the starting quarterback for them, who basically everybody underestimated because he was white and he was unathletic, but he was better than.
He was actually so sick.
He was so much better than like there was a quarterback who got transferred from Florida State, which is like a Division 1 school, one of the top schools, and he was really athletic and really fast, but he played quarterback and he couldn't throw, and like he was like getting well pissed off because he wasn't getting put in the team, but it was just like kind of like this guy's better than you.
But then that guy, like when he got his college offer, he said he'd only go to certain colleges, otherwise he'd just go into coaching.
Yeah.
No, I can't remember what he did.
He just went to college. He didn't play football.
Yeah, mad.
Oh.
Even though he was decent, but no, I don't think any Division 1 schools wanted to pick him up.
Right.
So he just went to college.
You saw a flashback of everyone, all the main characters, not a flashback, but like you saw where they are now, kind of thing, and none of them were particularly.
Well, I'll want to come back to that in a minute,
Yeah.
but so yeah, like going through the season, one things I noticed about season 2 compared to season 1 is that some of the players in season 2 are a lot less likable than the ones in season 1, and I think that's made me like the season a little bit less.
So do they stick with the 32 players that started the first game, or do the ones that were banned come back?
The ones that are banned come in and play because they are better than the freshmen that they've got and everything like that. But there's just a few players just like you're watching, because basically the problem with these people, with a lot of the players, is that they haven't really got any discipline. They don't really want to go to school. And when the coaches tend to do something, they don't do it. So like you're watching these people, and they're like, one of the defensive players, he was basically like had to get told like every day like to turn up to your classes, you have to do your schoolwork. And I think one of the coaches, the defensive coaches, was like,
Oh, he was having a fight with him.
Yeah, he was like, yeah, you've got class at 6 o'clock, and he was like, no, I don't. I've sorted it out with the teacher. And he was like, no, you haven't. Like, you have class. And then the guy like pushed him, and they started like getting like a little altercation. And I was like, the player, just it seemed like he couldn't comprehend that these people were actually trying to help them. That like, you may actually need your grades at your degree at the end of the day, because there's a very strong likelihood that you won't make it to the NFL.
Yeah.
So, but these people that guy in particular, Cam something, he properly didn't see that, and he was really getting on my nerves. And he had such a rubbish attitude. And the coach, Buddy Stevens, didn't do anything about it just because he liked him. Then there was another player, Isaiah Wright, who...
Oh, was that one that Buddy was probably having a guy at for no reason?
Exactly.
And you're like, what? Why are you having a guy at him?
Exactly.
He couldn't do anything
exactly.
right.
It was so jarring. So I don't. So he at the start of the season, he was basically doing sick, and he had he was getting loads of offers in from Division 1 schools, and basically he got concussed, in one game, and then I think he wanted to play, but then the what's it called?
Medical team wouldn't
the medical team wouldn't let him play. Yeah, so, and then the next game, I'm pretty sure he thought he said he had recovered, but it was a bit uncertain whether or not he should play or not. So then he plays, injures himself again, and he's still got a concussion, and he's like screaming because the light is so sensitive, and it's affecting his hearing and everything like that. So then they get one of the water boys or whatever to take him. They don't get the medical staff to take him to the back to the locker room. They get one of the medical staff. They take him over to like halfway to the thing, and then the game's going on. The geezer just fucks off and leaves the guy with a concussion, and he's like lying on the floor because he doesn't know what to do. So then he's concussed, and then he basically just saying like, I just want to play. He did like these players that are willing to like properly do themselves proper damage just because they want to play football. And like Buddy Stevens would be like, oh yeah, you need to just shake it off and play. So then he would play and do shit because he's got a concussion, and then the coach would have a go at him. And it was like, well, you're the one making him play. And then he got an injury. He got an ankle injury as well. Apparently it was like a high ankle injury or something like that. Apparently it's really hard to recover from, like in a short space of time, I hear. So he's like, I think he's out for like a week or 2 weeks. He comes back to play that game and he does really shit. And he comes out and the coach is like, are you alright to play? And he was like, oh yeah, I think I want to play. and then he puts him back in and he just shit because his ankle is fucked and he can't run as well as he normally does. And the coach just screaming at him, like, you need to do better for this team, you need to start playing properly, you need to basically you need to get over your injury, which obviously is harder than it seems. So he's like, he goes through a proper like turn, basically like midway from like 4 episodes into the season, and he's just playing rubbish, he's not getting picked, and the coach is just standing there having a go at him, and he's like in training, and he can't train properly, so he's just on the sidelines like chatting to, he's an offensive player, he's chatting to one of the defensive players, and the coach is having a go at him. He's like, why are you over here with the defensive players? Go over there with the offensive players. So basically saying, don't stand here and do nothing, stand over there and do nothing. And the guy's just like standing like, what would you want me to do? Like there was a play in a game where they booted the ball up the pitch, or punted it, whatever, up the pitch, and he didn't catch it. I don't really know there was football, so they were like, the things that were happening, I didn't really understand why the people were getting angry. But so basically, like, he lets the ball like bounce and whatever, and everyone just started having a massive go at him, and it was like, oh, you just need to catch it and run. So then the next time they kick it, he's on like the 1 yard before the end zone, the touchdown, whatever, and then he catches it. And I was thinking, like, okay, he's caught it, so he can just run then. But then he caught it, and then they blew up a whistle, and everyone was like screaming and saying, like, why did you catch it? And then he's just like, you told me to catch it before. I didn't catch it, and I caught it now, and you're still having a go at me. He's like, what do you want me to do?
Yeah.
Literally, the coach was just screaming at him, and he's literally saying, like, what do you want me to do? And it seemed like he was saying to him, do this, and then he does that, and then he's like, oh, why did you do that? You need to do this. And then he had his girlfriend had a miscarriage. I don't know if anybody if he told anyone about it at this point, but his girlfriend had a miscarriage, so he's going through that. He's injured. He's probably still concussed, and the coach had a massive go at him. He's getting he got all his Division 1 offers rescinded, and he had to go to a Division 2 school. So he just went through a massive dip in the season, and the coach was not helping him at all.
Yeah.
And he was basically saying, he said, the player himself when he's been interviewed said that this guy's a good coach, but he doesn't understand people, and once he's a person where if you can't give him what he wants, he doesn't give a crap about you, which was showing why the defensive player, who was basically a dickhead, because he was playing well, the coach was like, oh yeah, whatever you need, but for someone who's struggling with injury and mentally and for form, because he's not playing well, he can't give you what he wants, he just doesn't give a crap about you.
Oh, okay.
So yeah. Yeah, so, and then I found out the other day, I said on WhatsApp that player, I was like, right, so he went to Division 2 school, he didn't play for them, and now he's, him and his brother have been charged with homicide.
Oh shit!
He didn't play for him. Why?
He didn't play. I don't know. I'm not sure if he didn't get picked off. The season hadn't started yet or something. I'm not sure. But so him and brother have been charged with homicide. I think he's been arrested. I don't know if he's been convicted yet. So it shows like he was at a point where he could have gone to a really good school and maybe got drafted in the NFL. And now he could potentially be going to prison.
And how does season 2 end?
Right, it's mind-boggling how they're gonna fucking do season 3. That's all I'm saying.
They're going to a different school.
Are they?
Yeah. Apparently, a school in one of the schools that won. I think maybe the school that won the championship that year. I think they're going to that.
Okay, because basically the lady that helps every student who's struggling, she decided to quit and start her own company up, which she was being a real weirdo. And towards the end, she was like having real struggles with Buddy and stuff, wasn't she? They weren't getting on, but and she was an anchor in that team.
Yeah,
she was helping a lot of people out. So I'd actually like to see a season, a little snippet to see how they were doing, because I'm not sure they do as well without her.
No.
Then Buddy's right hand man decided to step down.
He was a dickhead to him as well. That would piss me off.
Well, Buddy was a dickhead to him.
Yeah, he was a prick to him. Like in the last game of the season, he was just like screaming at him, and then he said something about his ex-wife, and I was like, why are you bringing up his ex-wife? And then the guy decided to step down, even though he was supposed to be like head coaching. He was supposed to be the head coach after Buddy. So now I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, and then I think the guy who was having the argument with the kid as well, didn't he step down, or he went to another school to be head coach at another school? The defensive coach, he's gone.
Which one? The black one or the white?
Yeah, the black one. He's gone.
No, he's still there.
No?
He's still there. The white one's when he left.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh.
The black one's still there.
Oh, okay. Basically, a load of people left. A load of people stepped down.
Yeah.
Does the series seem genuine? Because it is like it's reality TV essentially, isn't it? Like
I don't think any of them hype up any points.
I think it's genuine.
Yeah.
So like you don't feel like the producers are kind of causing conflict or anything. It's just a documentary. They're just filming.
They
what's
literally
happening.
Get them in their locked dorm rooms, single them out, have an interview with them, and let them spiel off. They don't really ask them a lot of questions. And then when Buddy's being recorded, it's like cameras in his car, so it's not like anyone's actually there coaxing him. Is that the word?
I guess.
Yeah. Coercing him into saying anything.
Yeah.
He's just there talking to people on the radio or on his phone. Then the only person who probably might play up a bit is the lady, maybe, but I don't think she does, because she's the only person who has that deep relationship with all the kids. Like, the kids will come and sit in her office and chat to her about things and say if they're struggling, and if they're not attending class, she'll be like, well, you've got this class, and then they'll be like, oh, I haven't got a pencil, and she's like, well, I've got a pencil, kind of thing.
Okay.
So
she's like natural.
She's like their second mother. So yeah, and it does feel natural. So yeah, I mean, the only person probably wasn't that natural was Buddy's daughter, really. She just randomly appeared in one episode and started talking. She's like, I love my dad, he's great, and we're like,
okay.
woo.
Is that the sort of reality TV that would kind of be better? Would be better than
Everton. I'm manning out 1-4 now.
Oh, who's called? Sorry.
Sorry.
Podcast.
Oh, wrong
Sorry,
podcast.
Yeah, sorry.
That's right. It's interesting.
Well, like Sunday League pedigree.
We're just talking about American football. Now we're doing a little.
Yeah, any listeners, by the way, check out our podcast, Sunday League Pedigree. Sorry, yeah, it was Mkhitaryan and Lukaku, Martial and Valencia.
Good for your fantasy team.
Yes. Anyway, yeah, I think I like that. I like the kind of documentary thing.
Okay, so better than like Made in Chelsea.
Yeah, I don't know. I used to like
Where
that.
it's like, call this person a slag, and it's like, you're a slag. It's like, oh god.
No, yeah.
No, yeah, I really enjoyed this.
Last Chance You was good, wasn't it?
It was good.
Yeah,
It was a
yeah.
good recommendation from you.
And there will be a season 3.
Yeah.
Apparently, yeah.
Okay.
But it'd be interesting if they could do a part A and part B, or do the new school and then actually do a little snippet of what happened to the old school.
They did do a little. I thought it was quite interesting when they focused on another school for a bit. Basically, it was a school that was terrible. Basically, they'd lost every game for like 3 straight years or something like that. And they just followed them for a bit. And basically, their coach was kind of like saying, he watched a documentary and he's saying it's not really last chance you. He's saying like, this is last chance you. Like, this is the last opportunity these players will get to play football. Theirs is more like second chance. So it seemed like he was a bit bitter.
Okay.
But yeah, it was interesting to see their players, because obviously they were rubbish and they played EMCC, and it was kind of built, the way they built up, this making me think that they were going to win.
Yeah.
And it seemed like EMCC were like not taking their training seriously before that game. But then they got battered.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then they showed them playing the next game and they won, so they broke their curse, their 3-year curse, which was pretty cool. And I was hoping that they would maybe do if they were going to do another series, they would do it for that school.
I'm sure they could do a series on several ones, and I'm sure I'd probably watch them all. But it's up to them, innit? But
what have you been watching, Ollie? Anything?
Feeling sorry for myself this morning, so I put on Jackass, and I was just watching that.
What, the films or the TV?
Jackass 3 and 3.5.
Okay. You watched both of them? So did you watch basically
doesn't
the same
it repeat
film
a lot?
just
Yeah,
bit?
doesn't it repeat a lot of it?
No, it's all like similar stuff, but it's not the same.
Oh, so 3.5 not just like an extended version of 3?
Yeah, it's just like deleted scenes, some things that they didn't show in the actual film.
Oh, so it's entirely deleted.
Yeah.
Right, I'm with you.
Because, so does that mean it's worse?
No, that's quite funny, that. It's the deleted scenes.
Yeah.
Because if it didn't make it into the final film, would
It's
you not think?
because it's just they needed to shorten it.
Yeah,
Not
I think
because
it's not necessarily just because it's shit.
it's
Because
just
they do so much stuff that probably doesn't even get on. Like, I don't know if they have a YouTube channel, but they must.
they used to have a TV series and now they've all split up. So Bam is doing his own like documentary thing. Johnny's doing films and producing, I think.
Yeah.
Don't know what
One
the
of
other
them
ones are.
died.
Steve.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ryan Dunn. Steve-O's.
Oh, Steve-O does
climbing cranes.
Yeah, and he does
saving-
YouTube stuff.
Save what's it? Shamu.
Yeah.
How much would you have to be paid to do some of the stuff that they do?
Probably not a lot.
You wouldn't get paid.
Some of the
But like
things-
being in like a toilet and then they fucking fling the portaloo up and you come
Yeah,
in
no,
shit.
that's quite bad.
Or
Some-
having a
some-
snake bite your bell end. Like,
Yeah, but some of the stuff just doesn't seem really funny, you know, like some of the stunts that they're just
Yeah.
like, you know, you're on a bike and then it just goes off into a river, like off a ramp.
That'd be
I'm
alright.
like, yeah, that's
I think
easy.
that- is
I'd love to do
Is
that.
Jackass 3 the one with the big hand that
Yeah,
slaps
yeah,
him?
yeah.
Oh, that is so funny. Oh, have you seen it?
Yeah, I've seen the third one. I
Oh,
haven't seen
so
3.5.
jokes. But there's worse people than Jackass, isn't there? The
Dirty Sanchez.
Dirty Sanchez. There's so much
From
worse.
Wales!
Oh.
And the Dudesons?
Yeah.
They're like Finnish or something,
Yeah.
aren't they?
But like what was Dirty Sanchez is so bad though. Like I remember watching a scene where they're all around a table, and it's like they've taken some skanky stuff out of their own body. I can't remember what it's called.
Bile? Pus?
I don't know, but it's in a
Don't know
jar,
what's in the
and then they get this Chinese hooker to like indicate to one of them under the table which one's got to drink it, and then they have to drink it.
Oh.
Yeah.
I saw one and they
It's
did like
crap.
I can't remember, I think they're in South America or Central America, and they were like getting traditional tattoos. So it's literally just someone with like a rock and a
Oh
pin
yeah, the
needle.
pin, yeah.
And they're like, oh, you do it on your knob.
Oh my god.
Got this like massive needle. I'm like,
Why do people do this?
money innit?
Money, money,
I
money.
don't
Money
think
and
we paid
banter.
enough
Money
to
and
do that.
banter.
No.
Good banter.
No, the
You
band's
lot tell
not
me
worth
about American Assassin. Everything's American nowadays. American Scandal.
No, it would have been
American
it would have been
Vandal,
it would have been
I know.
a better it would have been a
Assassin.
better one to go to American Vandal first, because American Vandal is another documentary.
Yeah, see, Chris is king of
Oh,
segues
go on
now.
then, mate.
And then you would have gone to American Assassin because it's American.
Yeah. So,
See that
right.
U-turn?
Do a rewind.
Yeah,
So,
do-
Ollie, talking about knobs.
Chris.
That's your cue, Chris.
Oh yeah, good,
You
yeah.
knob.
No, it's actually interesting actually.
Well, what's it about?
So it's an 8-episode, 30 minutes each episode. 8-episode mocumentary, I think they call it. It's like
It's based on a true story, isn't it?
that I don't know. I haven't looked
I
up
thought it
that,
was.
but it's basically staff parking lot. 27 cars have been vandalised with dick pics.
Dictation.
Well, no, dick graffiti,
Yeah.
and this one guy's been blamed for it because he likes to mess about in school and he draws dicks like everywhere.
Super bad, isn't
Yeah,
it?
and he takes pictures of it. He's like, "Dick of the day," and that's quite funny. Like the dick jokes are quite funny and stuff. But there's this one kid in the school. He's part of like the media club, and he's quite nerdy. He doesn't get invited to parties, and he doesn't believe this guy has done it. And he's got like 4 points on why he doesn't think he's done it. And then the first point is, well, his dick drawings aren't the same as these dick drawings. Like, he's like, he doesn't draw the mushroom top on his dick, and he has bull hairs on his dick, so
Okay.
it can't be his.
Before you go on,
Yeah.
is any of us gonna watch it?
I'm not gonna watch his shit.
Okay.
It sounds,
Why?
it sounds terrible. I'm sorry. It sounds absolutely terrible. I'm not gonna watch
Who
it.
found it? Was it me?
Yeah.
Did I show you
someone
guys?
posted. Are you gonna watch it?
I will watch it, but you go
You
ahead.
okay,
mate,
go ahead.
go
And
ahead.
spoilers for American.
Well, there's no
Vandal.
real, I can't really spoil it because there's no true answer.
Okay, so how does the series progress?
So basically, there's this guy, and he's going in and out of. He literally goes for every detail he can find about anything, and he kind of goes off of. So it's almost like he's like, oh, this guy didn't do it, so I'm going to prove every way of why he didn't do it. And then he like has these 9 candidates who could have possibly been involved, because basically they had a 60-minute window, or no, probably less than that, to draw 27 penises and delete the footage because there's no footage of it. And he's like, well, there's only 9 people that he knows of that can delete that footage, like logically. So, and that's everyone part of the media club or whatever club it is.
Okay.
And so he narrows it down, like 2 people at the hospital, like, him and his mate, these 3 girls, and blah 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 blah. And then it gets to a point in the series where he's then got to decide between him and his mate. What did you just send me?
Oh no, nothing. It was just you.
Oh.
Just Snapchat you, mate.
Oh right. About him and his mate. I can't do it anyway. Him and his mate. He's like got to say. He says to his mate, "Look, you've got to interrogate me and prove why I'm not the person who's done it, because it only makes it fair if we do it like that." And he does it, and he takes the mick out of it, and he's like, there's like a picture of him like looking that way, and he's like looking at someone's dick. He's on like an eye line and stuff, and he's like, "You're not taking it seriously." He's like, "I'm gonna do one on you," and then so he does it on him, and he's like proper grilled him. He's like, maybe he did it because he fancies this girl, and they've been friends for ages, kind of thing. And he's like, "Well, you can't do that, mate. That's well out of order. You can't post this online." And he's like, "Well, I told you to take mine seriously, so I'm gonna take yours seriously," kind of thing. And he's like, "Well, maybe I should tell everyone that you like to look at American something magazine," and basically insinuates that he jacks off to it. And then he's like, "Oh, you really like this girl? Like, how would you like it?" And he's like, "Well, I don't like it, but that's the way of you proving the point. That proves the point." And he literally posts it online all the time. Like, so it's not something where he's going to make it all and then do it. He posts it all online, so everyone's seeing it. And the school kids are like saying, "Oh, it's this person doing it, this person doing it, this person doing it." And eventually he comes to the conclusions of several people, and then why these people have done it. Someone's mum's going out with someone else's mum, like, etc.,
High
etc.
school drama. Obi, you like
And
you
basic-
love high school drama.
Basically, by episode 7, because the kid got expelled for this, and then and this kid eventually gets excluded for it because they're like, "Well, you're disturbing the peace at school," and then there's loads of like rallies to say like, come back, don't let him go." And then basically that kid gets let back to school, and then the kid who got excluded gets they find some footage to prove where he was at the time, and it's basically his girlfriend had it, and she wasn't. There was a reason why she didn't show it, but I won't spoil it because and basically you come to the verdict where he doesn't actually know who did it.
But he just knows that the
unless I missed a part, you don't know who actually did it.
Okay.
They had this proper like in-depth like time analysis because there's a party and there's videos from all angles of the party, like Snapchat, blah blah blah. They've got all these videos in and they follow where this spray can goes, but they don't actually know who's taken it.
Okay.
I'm like, you spent all that time in this episode making this timeline of where this spray can went, and you still can't tell me definitively who the hell did this to the cars.
It's not real, is it? You said it's a mockumentary, right?
Yeah, well,
okay.
it's only, I only call it
it sounds real.
only reason I call it a mockumentary is
sounds not
because
far-fetched.
if it is based on a real thing and this kid did do this at school, he's not really making a documentary because he's posting it on YouTube kind of thing.
But is it a comedy or is it like a...
No, it's serious.
it is serious?
They do try and take it seriously, yeah.
Because I thought from the trailer it was going
Obviously,
to be
there's a bit of comedy because the guy is dumb. The guy who got accused of it is really dumb, and they're like weed heads and stuff like that. They're probably like.
I thought it was going to be parodying, like making a murderer. And
No, but it kind of hits on the point that one of the girls comes up to him at the party at the end of the year, and they're like all cheering for him and stuff, and she's like, "You posted online all the people that I have a list of all the people I've kissed and got off with and done stuff with." She's like, "You didn't need to put that in the documentary." And afterwards, he's like, "You're right, I didn't. I'm really sorry," kind of thing, because through that he showed everyone who she's been with. She got a girl to break up with her boyfriend.
Oh, it sounds like 13 Reasons Why.
And it's like, so he's accumulated all this information, and instead of like editing it to just do it about the thing, he's just thrown it all out there and just been like, "Oh, everyone make for yourself." Like, I thought the teacher got fired because of it, because the teacher was slagging off other teachers in it, and the teacher was like, "Well, I didn't realise you were going to do that. I probably wouldn't have said anything," kind of thing. And yeah,
But
so the ending is that he's allowed back at school. This kid's life is pretty much ruined as well because of this exclusion. Like he wasn't going very well for him anyway, but his life is ruined because of it essentially. And then the guy thinks he's figured out who's done it, but he can't actually prove she's done it.
Okay.
So that's the ending, and then the very ending is like, oh, there's a phone call. He's like, "Have you heard? Blah 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 has been taken to prison, like because another dick drawing." And they're like, "Oh, it can't have been him, surely." There's literally a video of him drawing. The guy who got accused of drawing all the other penises, he drew this exact same penis on someone else's lawn. Because they basically were like, "Well, you're useless anyway." When he came to say to him like, "I graduated," kind of thing, they were like, "Well, I don't really care." So like then you have the thing that was, did he really do it in the end, or did he not, or was he just doing that to try and frame the other person? But was he smart enough? And it's just like, and then they have this big question. There's like there were like loads of people were saying like it's really good because it shows that like true crime doesn't always give every side of the story. It kind of just gives that narrow line and then diverts a little bit, doesn't fully go off of it. And this kind of gave a lot of opinions in it.
This is a Netflix original series, isn't
Yeah.
it? Do you think they're running out of material?
As much as it wasn't a great series, it was interesting at the same time.
So is there a cast list at the end of each episode? Does it say like John played by Chris?
Yeah, I think so.
So then it's not real.
Well, you could still do that for a documentary, which is replicating something that's happened.
Oh, if it's like what do they call it? A reenactment, maybe. But
yeah, well, when they come up saying this is a true story.
It didn't say. I don't think it said true story anywhere. So
okay. Well,
I'll give it probably a 7. Maybe a 7.5. 7. I'll give it a 7. It was decent. I didn't really like the guy they cast as the one who was meant to be stupid and done all these dick pics. I didn't like his casting of it. But yeah, it was interesting. It was interesting. Didn't take long to watch. 4 hours. I mean.
Fair enough.
For us, it's
Yeah. Nothing in my life, is it? So.
Okay, well let's talk about American Assassin, which Obi and I saw yesterday. You both want to see it, right?
Yeah.
So we won't go into spoilery detail.
Yeah. Right.
But what was it about?
A guy and his girlfriend, and basically
She gets slaughtered at the beach.
yeah.
Oh, is that in the trailer?
Yeah, they say something about his girlfriend being slaughtered on the beach.
Oh,
And
okay.
he gets recruited by the FBI.
Yeah, that
so-
happens, and that basically turns him into a bit of a madman, and so he
Goes
gets
out for
recruited
revenge.
by
He must kill all
He
terrorists.
goes out.
basically.
He goes out for revenge, and then he gets recruited by a branch of the CIA, but not the CIA. It's like what was it called? Orion.
Yeah, it's like some
Something
sort
like
of
that. Some
shadow
odd
kind
names, yeah.
of
And
project.
he's has to get taught how to basically be a super spy by Michael Keaton. I can't
Decent.
remember Hank or Parry or
It was his name was Stan Hanley. Is that right?
that's the one.
Stan Hanley.
So and then they go after a terror threat basically, and so yeah, some people die, and so
As,
Is it
as many
like
people as
a-
Fast and Furious, or
nah, I don't think
No,
no,
no.
those many
There's
Fast
quite a
and
lot of death in this.
Is it
It's
like
quite
an American James Bond?
Not really.
Not really, no.
No?
Although he does come out of the water, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Like right out the sea and like his trunks and stuff.
did he do well though? The main character, did he do well in that role? Because I kind of like him.
I thought he was
Gillian
okay.
O'Brien,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah, I liked
Yeah.
I
it
thought it was alright.
from the Maze Runner and
The
stuff.
start to the film was very
What is it?
John Wick 1.
Ooh.
The same as John Wick 1, I feel.
Same John Wick. They
Kind of.
announced the date of John Wick 3.
Did they?
Mm.
Decent.
2019.
Because John Wick 1 basically like it shows him and his wife being happy, and then suddenly bang, his wife's dead, and
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
find out he's an assassin. It's kind of I thought it was quite similar to.
I did not expect that.
Oh, I expected.
I
that.
thought I mean I knew-
from when he walked away on the beach and he was looking at her, and they were showing shots of him looking at her, I was like, okay, she's gonna die.
yeah, I did think she would.
Spoiler. Sorry,
Well,
guys.
no, that's right.
This happens within like 5 minutes,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's really quick.
Yeah.
Like,
His government's fit as well.
Yeah.
I knew she was gonna. Well, I assumed she was gonna die, but I thought they would long it out a bit more because it was
Nah.
kind of like cringe, wasn't it? It was like, oh baby, you're right.
Nah,
and
'cause
then
that
he
in the
proposes,
tra-
and
in-
then
Oh, he proposed as well, did he?
Oh, yeah,
'Cause-
sorry.
No, it's alright. It doesn't really matter, does it? Because like in the trailer,
It's inconsequential
Yeah,
story.
yeah, exactly. 'Cause in
that's
the-
his motivation.
in the trailer they say about his motivation. Because the guy in the trailer thing, the guy asks why he wants to do this, and then they have the little clip of the beach, but then you don't see anything happen
Yeah.
on the beach. But
yeah, so that shit goes down, and I did not expect it that quickly,
Mm.
which I quite liked because I was like, okay, cool, this is like, you know, going to be quite fast paced, and I feel like it was quite fast paced.
I
Like
think it
things
was.
happened quickly. There was obviously the montage of him training and stuff, but I liked it because I quite like a revenge sort of thriller, you know, in the style of Taken. And he was quite like a flawed character. Like he didn't really listen much, did he? Kind of did his
Didn't
own
really
thing,
discipline.
and he was very focused on his own. Like he was quite selfish in that way. And yeah, it was. I thought it was solid action. Like the plot was kind of formulaic, but with those sorts of films, it's more about the action.
yeah.
It was violent, bloody, good supporting cast and things. And the anti, I don't know, is it a spoiler to say what the threat is?
I don't know. But
What do you think?
Grey
If you were to not have seen
Say
it,
it, just go
and
and
I
say
was
it,
to
say it,
say
go
it,
and
would
say
you
it.
think that was a spoiler to say what the threat is?
yeah,
Okay.
leave it out.
Well, let me just say this: the threat is kind of
Michael.
very high. They up the ante like loads, and I was like, whoa, like. But I'm not gonna say no more, but
I thought it was the film basically shows how incompetent the CIA appears to be in America, because basically they used Dylan O'Brien to find a terrorist, and I was thinking how has this novice been able to find this terrorist in Libya or wherever
yeah,
it was?
in like 18 months.
Yeah, and you haven't been able they were tracking him so that they would so that he would lead them to the terrorists.
Yeah.
I was thinking what? And they were not keeping track of people's phones and the people who they were working with, and I was just this makes the CIA seem so shit.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for what's his face.
There were a couple of
They'd
things
be
which
like-
we discussed after the film that we
Yeah.
were like, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
Which
there's
I-
a few confusing bits.
we
in the
can
middle.
talk about it once you two have seen
Yeah.
it next week.
I'll try and
maybe.
see it next week.
But yeah, I really enjoyed
It's
it.
decent.
It was,
It's decent.
yeah, proper solid. I feel like he wasn't really an assassin though. American
No.
Assassin's a bit of a mismatch.
He only killed I've spoken. He only killed 4 people
Yeah,
or 5 maybe.
Really? I thought you said there were loads of deaths.
yeah,
Yeah, not
but
by him, though.
necessarily by him.
No.
But he was more like American. It should have been called like American agent or something.
Mm.
You know,
Assassin sounds better.
An assassin, I feel like would be more clandestine. Like he'd be like in the shadows.
Clinical as well, probably.
Yeah, you know, like something like the film Hitman. Yeah, more assassin like John Wick. You know, he's kind of super kind of trained.
Yeah.
Whereas Dylan O'Brien's quite rough.
Mm.
and raw.
Plenty of dead fish, I reckon, as well, by the end of the film.
Yeah.
Fair play.
Yeah, I'd recommend that. Probably 7.
Yeah, I'd say go and see it. It's decent film.
Oh, nice.
Anything else that you lot have seen recently that you want to talk about? Anyone got a from the archives?
I can give you a from the archives.
Well, go on,
I'll give you a choice.
What a treat.
Either Hancock or Jumanji.
Let's talk about Jumanji because there's going to be a remake.
Because I have never watched Jumanji. It was the first time while I was at the festival.
Okay.
I watched Jumanji.
Yeah, I really like Jumanji.
Classic.
It's very good. It's interesting. I didn't expect the first bit.
Tell me what it's about.
So it's about.
It's
Well,
irrelevant.
it all starts with this board game being like basically buried bodies and people from way back when.
Sorry, quickly, did anybody ever watch the cartoon series?
No.
No.
I watched
No.
Sathura, which is the sequel, right?
I don't know.
Sequel.
I don't know.
I think it's just another film
Oh, is it?
based on a board game.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Sorry.
It gets hidden and they're like, this is like an evil game, like hope no one ever finds it. This kid's getting bullied and then he finds the board game in his dad's yard, building yard. Takes it home, plays it with a girl he really likes. Just before, he's about to leave home, plays it with a girl he really likes, and he rolls the dice. And in the middle it says, "You'll be trapped in the jungle until someone rolls a 3 or a 5 or something like that." I don't know. And instead, she's just, I don't know what happened to her. I think I can't remember if she rolled the dice first or rolled the dice second, but in whatever order. She rolled it and then bats flew at her and then she ran out and just left the board game.
Yeah, you have to finish it. Don't you?
Yeah, and then years later, 2 kids, their parents have died, they're living with their aunt, the aunt's bought the house, and they start playing the board game and like within 3 rolls, monkeys are about, killer flies are about, and they've released him from the jungle because they've rolled a 3 or a 5. I'm definitely getting the numbers wrong, and then he comes out, he's a bit like worse where, he's like, where's my family, what year is it, like blah 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 blah, and then he just goes on this little like wild goose chase trying to find everything, and then the kid psychologically makes Robin Williams
Yeah.
play the board game again, and he's like, and then the little girl realises there's a 4th player to the game and they can't continue without the 4th player, so they have to find the woman who was there 27 years ago and play the game with her. Which then begs the question is, what happens if she died?
Don't know.
No, is that game over?
Don't
I don't know. And then and it's just these series of challenges for him really. Like there's a hunter who comes about, doesn't explain why the hunter and Robin Williams have history really, but the hunter's after Robin Williams
Something must
because
have
of
happened in the jungle. Right?
or just purely because of the dice roll because Robin did it. And then there's a line in there, and they basically like. The cop's having a horrible time on the street trying to sort out everything, and he's like, what's happening? Robin Williams and the woman, I can't remember her name, like they're having their inner battles because she thinks she was a bit mental and he just lived in a jungle for 27 years, so he's probably, not 27 years, however long it was. And then, and then it just like culminates that they've got to finish the game, and it's just becoming a very big struggle to complete this game because of everything that's happening around him, like. Robin Williams falls into the floor, like there's water everywhere, there's plants trying to kill him, it's just a bit
the board
chaotic.
game comes to life. Sort of.
Board game where whatever happens in the middle comes to life.
Okay.
So whatever's said in the middle it doesn't come out the board game, does it? No, it just happens around them. And it's just madness. And basically the only way to get rid of it all is by completing the board game. And there's one point where the kid tries to cheat as well. And he tries to drop the dice because he only needs to get... I think he needs 12 to win, so he drops both dice on the 6s, and the board game realises he cheats, and so they turns him into something else, like this little like raccoon kind of thing. And they eventually do complete it, as you are going to complete it in the games.
But do they try and destroy the board or anything?
No, so what happens is once they complete the game, it reverts time back to when they originally started the board game 27 years ago.
Oh.
And so they know, so the 2 adults know all about the board game, so they obviously close it up. I don't know what they do with it, they hide it. Them 2 get together, live a really nice life, live in the house still. The guy who, so basically at the beginning, the kid accidentally ruins this guy's shoe, and this guy then becomes, I think the guy becomes a policeman, or his son becomes a policeman, I couldn't really work that out. And basically they help each other out, and then they become really they have a good fortune, because they've come up from a fortunate family anyway. And so the kid had an argument with his dad, and he resolves that when he comes back to that time period. And then basically the 2 kids are there with their 2 parents. They've been invited by the other 2 because obviously they know who they are. And the other 2 are like, oh yeah, we're going to go up this mountain. That's where they died. And they go, no, you've got to stay here and do work. You can't go up that mountain. And basically, so Robin Williams and this woman have essentially, after going back in time, lived happily together, stopped these 2 kids from losing their parents. That's the end of it.
Okay.
Great film.
Yeah, it is a really good film actually.
Is it comedy? Is it like?
It's got some comedy.
Jumanji?
I think I have when I was very young.
It's got comedy. It's got adventure. It's good characters.
Would you ever play it?
No.
If it was here right now and the stuff.
There's
Not
there's another board game Chris has got on his
Ouija.
shelf that we want.
Not in my
Ouija
house.
board
If you want to play Jumanji in someone else's house, that's fine. I can tell you now, if you left me in a jungle for 27 years, when I come back, I'd probably kill you. So.
What board game would you play in real life? Like if it came to life?
Monopoly.
That's a good shout. That is a good
You
shout.
just end up in jail.
I'll go past go like $300 and get $200.
Nah, payday, mate, payday.
What's
Fair
that?
dollar.
For the game of life.
No, you're just a cheating banker, aren't you?
Oh yeah,
You're
that's
always,
it.
you're always
Cash
a banker,
arson,
aren't
mate.
you?
Exactly.
'Cause there's a new Jumanji film coming out in there with Kevin Hart, Dwayne
It's
Johnson.
a sequel, yeah.
It's a sequel.
So this
It's a
is
sequel apparently, but it's not based on the board game.
no,
it's based on an
like
arcade
an
game.
arcade game, and they get sucked into the arcade game, and they have like super power, like abilities from the character that they pick. And it does look a good laugh actually.
That's funny, yeah.
Dwayne Johnson and Kevin Hart, I think,
I'm
are
not
a
sure.
funny duo.
I'm not sure.
Why?
Don't know.
Oh,
I really like the first one, so I don't want him to like
Yeah,
make
the
it.
first one is really good. I'd give it a
So-
7.5, 8.
Okay.
Bit old school as well, so maybe that's why it's turned my rating a
Do you
little
have it
bit.
on DVD?
No, I watched it on
I
Netflix.
got that DVD.
Oh, it's on Netflix.
It's on Netflix, yeah.
Oh, cool. I'll check that out.
Unless it's on just the Croatian Netflix. No, I downloaded it before I went.
Croatian
on.
Netflix.
No, because when you go to different countries, you get different options on Netflix,
Yeah.
don't you? But I downloaded it on Netflix before I went over there.
Oh,
and I watched
okay.
it in my tent.
Cool.
Segue though, Dwayne Johnson, been a bit of a feud with him and one of the casts of Fast and Furious family.
Oh, segue king, man. So what's up? What's the beef?
Tyrese is not happy that Dwayne Johnson is going to do a
Spin-off of Fast and Furious based on Hobbs. Is that right?
Yeah.
Hobbs.
So like basically, Tyrese tweeted or maybe added him on Instagram, some sort of social media, saying like basically like don't do the film because him doing that film would push back the date of Fast and Furious 9, and he's saying like we can't let the fans down like that. And we all were basically saying basically he wants the money for
now, yeah.
Fast and Furious 9
Yeah.
as soon as possible.
Tyrese Gibson and Ludacris do, and who's the other one? Michelle Rodriguez.
Yes.
They do fuck all apart from those films. So he's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get like 10 million, every 2 years
Yeah, but
from when
how
these
can you
films
be
come
so
out.
upset about someone else doing a film? Like, I
Because
know,
he's not gonna be in it.
yeah, no, but I know he's going to be set back a bit from getting his money. But surely he's got millions in the bank, just sitting there waiting to.
I thought Dwayne Johnson was going to be new president.
Well, apparently
Might
he's
be.
apparently,
He's running for it,
apparently
isn't
him
he?
and Tom Hanks, isn't it? Like 20 whatever.
Tom Hanks. It's gonna be ridiculous. America's gonna turn into a joke. I thought
Well,
Kanye West was.
No,
gonna
you say that, yeah, but Dwayne Johnson does a lot of things and he seems to manage it quite well. So.
Yeah.
I mean,
Who's to say that?
I don't know about his
who's to say, fucking
Don't know about his
Terminator
political
was governor of California.
That's true.
not for very long though, was it?
So would it be just Hobbs, or would it be like, because him and Jason Statham had a
Well,
good
apparently
fight.
they,
Yeah, I think-
they were saying about
yeah.
that, weren't they? That might be in the film, the bromance, because
Yeah.
it did really good chemistry actually.
I feel like they do kind of need to take it in a slightly different direction now, because like people saying, oh yeah, the ninth one's going to be in space. Like, what the hell are they going to race like rockets or what? Like,
Oh mate, that's gonna be like.
That is wicked.
What's that? Oh, what's that? Machete. That's gonna be like the Machete films, mate. They're so far fetched, and then they did
Oh,
Machete
yeah.
in space, and I was like, yes.
have they done that yet?
No, I don't think so. But
They'll probably like race cars on the moon or something.
That's when you
Like,
run out of
insane.
things.
someone's got their
Things to do,
base on the
just like-
moon.
You know what
isn't
would
it?
be a good idea, and Universal, like, I will trademark this, but you can give me kind of money for it, is if they did it in virtual reality, like, or they're on like an arcade game, right? So they're racing like in the arcade,
So
and
Tron.
they have to like, things will explode, but it will just be kind of
America.
graphics, and
There's no
there's
stakes,
no
though.
harm. Yeah, because what if there's a bomb attached to the arcade, and then Wreck-It Ralph comes out and he's like, and
He
then
basically-
I feel like Universal won't want to trademark this.
Yeah, well, that's fine. I will develop this myself.
Alright.
Sounds like Tron to me, mate.
Fuck you, man.
Oh, can I ask you another question?
Yeah.
No.
Oh,
We haven't had
Trish.
Moby question in a
No, it's a
while.
question I asked you yesterday.
Question
Oh,
time.
right.
So,
Oh,
okay.
this is deep.
Yeah,
It's
so
not film related.
No, it's not
deep.
film related. It's a deep question. So I had this question on the podcast. So you're on a desert island, and you can't get off it, and you pretty much you're gonna die. And someone gives you a bottle and a bit of paper, and you can send a message to one person, but it can only be like one sentence long. But you can't ask for help because you know, like, you're going to die. That's basically it. So who do you send a message to, and what do you say?
Don't know, mate. I'll probably just bash one out and then.
Serious answers, please.
So I would.
What
I reckon
did
we
you
would
say?
we would all write to national newspapers and TV channels and say, give Your Average Critics a listen, give YSC Podcast 17 a follow.
No, can I have serious answers, please?
This is tricky.
Well, what was yours?
Shit, though,
What
isn't
was
it?
yours
It's just
be?
be
So my
like,
one-
oh, I love you.
Oh, wait,
Blah,
it
blah,
could be anything.
blah.
I'll do it to my brother and I'd say, love you, look after family.
There you go. See?
That's cute.
Cute.
That wasn't supposed to be sarcastic.
That's right.
I know
Sorry,
everything
mate.
I say
Yeah.
sounds sarcastic. But what was yours, though?
So my one was I would send it to my mum and I'd say, don't worry about me.
Okay.
Because my mum was a massive warrior. I'm just like, allow it, man.
Be like, what's for dinner?
My mum wasn't cooking dinner. My mum was cooking dinner since 2007.
I would write to Eminem and I would say, Dear Slim, I wrote you but you still ain't calling. I left myself my pager and my home phone at the bottom.
That's too long, firstly.
No, that's one sentence.
That's two sentences.
That's one sentence.
That's definitely two sentences.
Nah, colons, isn't it?
Can I have a serious answer from you? Because I asked you yesterday and you were chatting shit. Can I have a serious answer, please? Same from you, Ollie.
Okay, I would probably write it to family. I'd just
Who?
be like, who?
It has to be one
that's
person.
one person.
Oh, just one person.
One person.
That's what,
Probably just Jules. Be like,
Fuck you.
have no regrets or have fun or just, like, do whatever,
enjoy life.
something like that. Yeah. Like, yeah, innit?
You also be to Lauren, surely, no?
Just have fun.
Yeah. Maybe I'd like donate a bit of sperm and say, have a kid or something with me after I'm gone.
No. Because it's not allowed.
Why? Why is that not
You don't
allowed?
have to put sperm in the bottle. No, it's you only have one piece of paper with a message that is one sentence long. And also, why would Lauren want to have some of your sperm? And then because then she'd have your child, but then if she gets
Because it's a reminder of me, isn't it?
no.
All right,
it's
can
not
I
allowed.
can
That's not
I
allowed.
draw
You
a
can
picture?
clone it.
No, you can't have loopholes.
you
All you
can
can do,
clone-
you can write
Yeah.
words.
What picture would you want to draw?
You have one sentence.
I don't know, picture of me and her or
It's a
something.
little tiny piece of paper. You've got enough to write.
I
one
would do
sentence-
a little
one sentence on
hangman
it.
and have every other letter.
No, can I have a serious answer, please? I'm not ending this podcast till I get a serious answer.
Oh my god. Yeah, I'd just say I'd probably write it to her and just say, have enjoyed and loved every minute.
Oh!
And
That's
yeah,
one sentence.
sorry,
Sorry.
semicolon.
Why would you say sorry?
Sorry, I can't be there for the rest of it.
Isn't semicolon technically the end and
It's
the
not
continuation?
a full stop though, is it?
It's fine.
I'll allow you because that was actually a serious answer for once.
Oh gosh.
All right. Well, listeners, what would you say to your loved one? Maybe you can fit in 140 characters and tweet us. That'd be a good one. You tweet out. But yeah. So we're YSC Podcast 17. Follow us on Facebook, SoundCloud, and iTunes at Your Average Critics. And then also, if anyone's seen Mother, do let us know what you think of it and what your reading of it was. Has anyone got anything else to add before we finish for today?
Listen to our football podcast, Sunday League Pedigree.
And where can they find that? Where can they follow it?
At Sunday League Pod on Twitter.
And are we on iTunes, SoundCloud?
Yeah, Sunday League Pedigree on iTunes and SoundCloud.
Cool. Well, thank you for listening and tune in next week.